Hello everyone. So there's a little irony. I finally ran out of my cobalt blue hue. I ordered another one after I was talking about that. It won't be here for 2 days. So in the meantime, I'm going to do everything else. We're going to finish these people down here and the curtain and the stage. I added a few things to my swatch. I'm going to erase this. I got a little boo-boos here. Right, so I forgot to add in my swatch. We need to add colors for this man's jacket and the stage itself. So I added that here. So for the stage floor, I actually added 3 colors, which is rosy beige, beige sienna, and clay rose, which are all really more like tan colors. Beige sienna 1080. By the time I post this swatch, it'll be a little cleaned up. I do tend to alter things as I go. So then I also add for this man's jacket sap green light and lime peel. So I thought we'd do his coat and we'll do their skin tones now. I'm going to work on the stage and then the curtains. And so let's start with this man's jacket. I'm trying to choose some kind of 1970s tacky green colors. So I chose the sap green light and the lime peel. Because that's kind of when this movie came out, right? The original Carrie was in the 1970s. So we have here sap green light and lime peel. So let's put in some sap green light. I didn't want to do any too dark, like army green colors. Like you do see a lot of those 70s coats, those thin army type jackets, because we have this dark green over here and these flowers. And I didn't want anything to really take away from that. So I chose some kind of more unusual greens. So let's put this into his collar, just halfway. Follow these lines here. The lime peel is definitely a lot more lime. I'm hoping by the 2 colors together, we can kind of combine it for kind of an interesting color. And this is a prom. You know, I didn't want to go too dark. He's probably going to be wearing some kind of a tacky blazer. Tacky for us now, not probably tacky at the time. So I'm just going to color in softly from his shoulders outward. And then go a little bit down. I'm just going to kind of weave in some kind of stripes. This is kind of like a sage green. Maybe like a darker mint, sort of. I'm just kind of putting some of this color loosely. All right, and then let's put in the lime peel and see how this turns out. Sometimes that's completely winging it color choice, but I have a good sense of what goes well. I didn't want to do any more browns. We have enough browns in the hair. I didn't want to do any dark greens that takes away from this picture. Didn't want to do any more blues or silvers. Red wouldn't quite look right because we want all the red to be focused on the blood, which I have to touch up and put some pencil over that. But so I chose kind of like a lighter green. All right, let's color into his sleeve. And this has a yellow tint. So yellow or gold, maybe gold mustard type shades, sunflower shades, are really good with blue and gray. As is like orange, cream, white, beige. So yeah, so by putting that in, you see how it turned that a little bit kind of a yellowish green. Let's get this up in his collar as well. Yeah, and I like it so far because like the eye kind of draws this green and this green already together, but they don't look like they're exactly the same. So we're looking for like a congruency in our color palette. Let's go in this way. Coloring the left to right or right to left, whatever, the long way. All right, there's two ways we can go. I've added a little more green there. We can leave this more of the shade or put more of this over, or leave the sleeves and color different color than the back. You know, you do see a lot of weird things in the 70s. I kind of like how that looks actually. I'm gonna put a little bit here in the back panel. I'm gonna go light because I might go back over it with that other green. Then it'll look like this is like an underneath kind of a highlight. I think I kind of like the sleeve being a little darker right here. So I'm doing a very light color. Okay, let's go back to the sap green light. I'm going to put it in a little darker here at the color over that color and kind of see what happens. Oh, I like that. You see, you kind of see both colors now. You see a little bit of that lighter color coming through. So it gives like a dimensionality sort of to the garment. Really darker right in the corner. Let's do this. So I'm just gonna put this in. I'm going up and down with this piece here, kind of a little diagonal. So I kind of need both pencils in my hand. So we're actually doing both at once. So I'm actually holding both. I'm kind of trying to mix them. Putting a little bit more of this over it. Good. Let's get a little bit more right here. This is the lime peel. Put a little bit more right in here. I like how this color is turning out between the blend. You almost see a tint of blue in there, which is kind of neat. The blue undertone with this sap green when you blend in this lime. It's a neat color. It's very unusual, which I guess would work for the 70s, like those tacky green sofas and shag rugs and carpets. Dining room tables that were kind of this color. Okay, now we're doing the lime peel, and I'm going to blend this right on in. There we go. good. I'll take the darker one, just do it more like right along the collar. Okay, so now brush everything off, and then let's do a quick little blender. All right, did a nice blend on this garment. Looks good. What might look good to put a little bit of blue in there. Take your indanthrone blue that we put in that curtain and just kind of go a little bit here with the lines right across in the crease. I mean, black works too, but the blue is kind of neat because it'll tie into the curtain theme. All right, I think that's good. It's a nice color. If we really want to make sure things, you know, are tying in, we can take that lime peel and touch a little bit of this into these leaves. Might not do much because we already blended it. There's a chalky kind of layer, but that might lighten it a little. Where, let's see if it makes a difference. They are similar in color, but not exactly. You always want to be thinking about what else on the page color-wise you can tie in. So not the exact same shade, but a similar shade, or has a little bit of the same shade in with other colors. And you want kind of like a smooth flow, like a cascading waterfall in your coloring pages. All right, so done with that green. I want to go ahead and do his skin. So for the man on the far left, I have Nectar, light umber, chocolate, and dark brown. So I guess we're giving him more of a darker Hispanic-y skin tone when I originally chose that. I don't know why I chose those colors, but I plan all these in advance, like weeks in advance, my color palettes. So man skin left. So let's do dark brown. Dark brown. I do not have a dark brown card, but we are on dark brown, so just letting you know. We are on 946, dark brown. Actually, let me take that back. I want to start with the Nectar. I want to put in a light layer on his skin before we put in the browns. Yeah, so let's just put in a really gentle and soft Nectar layer here. A little peachy undertone. Did it very light. Tried to make sure there's no kind of scratchy looks to it or anything. Okay. Now we'll do a little bit of that dark brown. Make sure it's pretty sharp. What I'm going to do with this dark brown is mostly go in where you see the kind of lines on his face. The pencil sketches. So right here. A little bit on his neck. right here. A little more on his neck. A little bit on his cheek. I touch a little into his hair, but I'm at it, but a little bit on his ear, like on the inside part of his ear right there. Maybe a teeny bit over his eye. And that's it for the dark brown. Okay, I do have cards for the rest, so let's get our chocolate color. This is where we're going to start putting in some of the color. So I'm going to kind of follow very light and careful. Slowly dust in some color around his neck, on his forehead, and along his hairline, along his chin line, blending a little bit into that other brown right there, and then blend a little bit over that, coming a little bit down. Okay, let's blend up along his neck, right above the coat. Just up the side of his neck right there. A little bit over that spot right there with that little brown. That's really it. You don't need much. Okay, let's do the light umber. And that we're going to blend in very light and slow, the feather touch to the other two colors. I'm going to put the nectar back in the main part of his face, so don't do the full cheek. Let's do a little bit of his outer ear part. Let's blend here under his chin. And a little bit upward. This, like all that nectar is going to go right back in right here and right here. So I'm going to put this around his back. All right. Not much really to do. Then the nectar we're going to kind of use to put that back in, kind of blend everything up a little bit. I'm going to start out light just to see how this looks before I really go at it with any kind of blending, and I might use the blending stump for that. I'm using extremely sharp, and I'm doing it very light so I don't break the tip for one, but so it's nice and smooth. Skin tone is really tricky with pencil. Especially when you're doing like the back of their head or the side, it's hard to get to look really natural when you can't like even see their whole face kind of thing, in my experience. So you just have to be careful and take your time. Coloring in his whole neck here. Getting that nectar put in everywhere before we blend. Let's put it over his ear. A little harder right here. Around his chin's going to be darker right here. I'm also going to touch in a little bit of white. I don't have a card for that, but just put down your white, mostly around his cheek area, over that nectar area. Okay, now let's go ahead and blend it. Make sure there's nothing blue or from your previous blending on the edge of your pencil. We don't want to get blue on his face. I would pick anything off with your nail. Make sure it looks clear. Then start in the lighter areas first. Or green, I guess, is the last color I did, so make sure I didn't have any green on it. Gonna do back here behind his ear. Up his ear. Let's go behind his neck. Really, I'm just basically blending everything. So we gave him, as you can see, a nice kind of a Hispanic-y skin tone, maybe or tanned or something. And I'm putting a little more white right here over that lighter area. That's the lighter part of his face. It's going to be darker around the hair and around the back. And do a little more of this. Blend in some more of that white. And obviously we don't want everyone in this picture to have the same skin tone, so we're trying to vary it up a little bit. All right, I like that. Now let's take that nectar and put a little bit into his ear. It might not show enough. I almost wonder if I need a tad of pink, but let's try. Inside of the ear, I think that'll be all right. You can touch up anywhere you want with that nectar. It's a nice color. We're gonna use that on a couple others here too, with some different ones as well. All right, I think this looks good. I consider him going to see the back anyway. Yeah, he's fine and done. Okay, now let's do this girl here. So for the girl, woman's skin. No, actually, let's not do her yet. I didn't pull all her colors. Let's do this guy. I'm on the guys first. Let's do the guy on the right. Peach beige, nectar, light umber, and chocolate. So peach beige. So I have nectar. I have my chocolate. I have my light umber. And I have my peach beige. All right. I just need to start sharpen my peach beige. We'll do a similar concept there for this one. Sharpen. Okay. So for this guy on the right, let's start with the peach beige, giving him a base coat like we did before. So we're going to do a base coat. Do peach beige. And I'm just going to go in light and give him, this one has a little more gray tint to it, or like a neutral color. Not so much of a orangey or yellowy undertone. As the nectar, go under his neck. Okay, so then let's go to the chocolate. This is a good color for getting started with. And we'll do kind of what we did here on this guy, although we did the darker brown. We're going to go into the line areas on his face. And behind his ear, there's a lot of pencil sketch. You see this? We're kind of creating some shadows. He already has sideburns there, so we're going to kind of ignore that. I'm going to go right down there. I'm going to go in the upper part of his neck right here. Maybe a little bit under his hair. Just going to squiggle a little bit of that in there. It's a little more shadowy. So he has his chin line is here. I'm going to kind of follow this chin line a little bit right there. And go straight down. Yeah, a little bit up here on his eyebrow. The inside little hoop loop of his ear right there. That's really all we need for the chocolate. Let's do the light umber. And again, blend a little bit over these areas where we put in that chocolate, a little bit over it, going into the white. Let's do this little V here, a little bit up behind his ear, not all the way, but a little. Let's do up here behind his sideburn, top of his eye. I'm going to color a little bit into the back of his hair here, really light as I bring it down, because we're going to be putting in that neck, the peach beige, so I'm very pale, touching over here. If you catch yourself going faster, just tell yourself to slow down. Go here, go to the bottom of the ear, top of the ear, and really light around the back of the ear, and that's it. So let's get the peach beige. Okay, and this is where we're going to kind of get in there and get all the remaining white areas and try to blend slowly at first into that chocolate and umber, but mostly we want to get lighter pressure on the pale areas here, again, to add in a tad of white. So do it really soft right here. You can blend a little harder over the brown, but leave a little bit of white, not as much touched. Okay, let's get here in this V. All right. Okay. Really light right here, and I want you to grab a little bit of white. I don't have my white card, apologize, but let's just do that white over that where we did the lightest area, again, right around the chin, the front of the face. We're kind of just trying to show where so there's gonna be light on the stage and the light shining back at them, but it's gonna be darker behind them. So we want it to look a little lighter in the front, like light might be hitting him. I'm not gonna put so much of that white back here, but I am going to put a little more of that peach beige back here. Blend it a little better. You can use a little more pressure back here for that peach beige. And let's blend on in. Pick off anything dark on the edge of your blender. Go for the white part of his face first. Let's go right down here. Blend it at the base of his hairline, into his skin. Hold your paper down and pull downward. It's hard to blend back and forth without catching the paper when you're at the tip of the page. try, but it's really difficult. Okay, that all looks great. Just brush it off, use the nectar, get in that little ear area again. So it looks like a little natural pink. I'm going to put a little of that nectar right there behind his ear. I think right here it'll look good, and a little bit in the ear. Okay, he looks good and pretty natural, I think. I do feel like I got a little bit of brown on that black. I'm sorry, a lot of white on that line. Didn't quite look right. There we go. That looks good. This person here, apparently on my swatch, I didn't put anything in here for their skin, and all you can see is a strip of that neck. So just grab any color you want. I'm straight up just going to put in like the nectar and color into their skin right there. There's no point doing swatching that or me writing it down. You can do the brown or do whatever you want. Just put a little bit of that color. A little bit of that brown right there, darker skin tone. I also didn't choose really a shirt color. I think that a mustardy yellow is going to look good here. So I'm actually going to, well, yeah, like, I mean, see that or pop a red, but I don't want to take away the red from Carrie. So I think I'm going to put in, I have here this, for that little garment, I have a goldenrod, which is a 1034. I actually think I want to put in a little brown and goldenrod, and I'll go ahead and add this to the swatch if I can fit it. I'm going to put a little bit of this, actually light umber. Do these little square designs here. And around this neck border. Then I'm going to put in the goldenrod. Kind of hard. Hold the paper here and try to get this in best you can. Okay. There we go. I think it looks good. That little pop of yellow, remember I was telling you gray and blue, some of the best colors are greens and yellows. And see there's a hint of yellow in this lime peel. You see this goldenrod here, your eye kind of goes to the both. They work nicely together. There's a tint of yellow in those flowers as well. So overall it's a nice, sort of a smooth flowing color combination. You can do whatever color you want here. It wasn't worthy enough of me to mark it, but I think this goldenrod or any kind of a more mustard yellow. This has a tint of an orange in it, but I think any of those colors would work just fine. Okay, I don't have her colors pulled. I do have the colors for the stage pulled. So we can go ahead and work on that stage. For the stage, I have Clay Rose, Rosy Beige, and Beige Sienna. So, and I know it seems odd that they have like pink tints or whatever, but I'm going to put this right into my swatch. The point of that is intentionally because of her pink dress, for one, and two, I didn't want to do gray or it would be overkill, and I wanted to do more of a beige, and because there's going to be gray in the curtains and the stars. So I'm trying to do something that will still be like a nice, you know, with the color palette. So I added these in. You can see the beige sienna, it looks more like a beige. The rosy beige has barely a pink tint to it, and the clay rose is the only one that has a little more pink. So between the three of these, the clay rose is the darkest, so it'll be kind of our little bit of underlayer or shadowing. So let's get started with that clay rose. And I want to start, I mean, there's not a lot of stage here, right? But, and there's a little line of Carrie's dress I need to get. I'll have to get that later. I'm going to put the clay rose actually more in like these borders of the stage. You see this here? Down here. Right down here. This little section, skip like a bar, go down here. Okay. And then I'm going to do just a teeny bit. I'm going to lay my pencil sideways and just put a little bit of shading over in this corner. And all the way down, kind of following the line of his jacket right there. A little bit right here. A little bit over here. Okay. So then you're going to want to do the beige sienna. And we're going to kind of, I'm going to leave this one strip here blank or nothing there. I'm going to put something else there. So let's just blend into this little bit of pink. I'm hitting it kind of light. I'm going to leave a little more light toward the back. So a little darker in the corners and a little lighter toward the back here. A little heavier in the front where it's going to be darker out in the audience. We might need our two colors to go back and forth. I need to put a little darker of that clay rose up here in this corner. Now we're blending in the beige sienna. I'm going to put a little bit of white back here. So try not to get any on her skin tone because I want to do more peachies on her skin tone. But all right, let's blend in a little bit right here. Over here. I'm going to do above this pink stripe up here. And go down along her neck. A little bit outward, a little darker right there and under her hair. Okay. A little more of that clay rose. Right over here again and then down. Reshadowing it a little. Right there. I'm going to blend, so we'll leave that. I'm going to grab my white and do the back part of just this first section up to the line right here where I left a little more pale. Put some white right there. Okay, and we're going to blend in a second, but before we blend, I want you to add in the I think we'll add in, we're gonna add in some of the rosy beige, I think. I'm just gonna touch up a little bit more with that clay rose. I feel like I wanna keep putting in little shadows right there. It's just a tint of pink. You can barely see it, but it's enough to do the trick, I think. Kind of blend it in there a little. That's my clay rose I'm playing with. Okay, yeah, let's put in the rosy beige into this spot right here. Right there. I'm gonna do it a little more firm. So first, before we do anything else, let's get our blender and see how this is looking. Get this tiny area here first. Blending everything here. Also blending where we did that white under his chin. Okay, I think that looks good. It's soft enough where the reason we did such a pale neutral colors, we don't want our eye to go to the stage. We want her to be the centerpiece, right? We don't want the stage is almost supposed to be unnoticeable, like almost not even colored, but it has to, you know, be obviously colored, but we want it to have such a neutral color it's unremarkable, if that makes sense. Blending that top area and right there. It's like there, but it doesn't really mean anything. No one cares. And when you look at it, I'm backing away from the picture. I see that white area that we lightened it. So it almost looks like there's a little more light coming down on there. It's a little darker toward the front. I mean, I'm not going out of my way to create really depth light and dark effects, just subtle, just in subtle ways, little ways. Over here, we can put our rosy beige in as well to this area right here. I'm going to do one stripe under that front line, and then I'm going to do the beige sienna for the second little line. Alexa, stop. Right here. There we go. And I'm going to blend again. Okay, it's there, but it's not taking away from any of this effect. I see a few areas I actually need to touch up in this hair here. I need to blend a little better. Touch up a little blue and black. It's fine for now. Pick that off my blender. And then I realized we have this little front area here. So take that beige sienna. Just do the main center part right here. And the rosy beige and this other stripe here and on the bottom. That's her that's her shoulder. Never mind. That's her shoulder. Thought that was part of the stage. Okay. And again, we want to blend Give it a good blend up. All right. Good. I think it looks fine. It's very subtle. If you step back and look at it, it's, you know, it's a neutral shade. Could be almost like a tan, a little bit of faded wood or faded like cheap kind of linoleum or something. That's a little more light hitting it in the back. Your eye doesn't go out of your way to it, and it's also a nice neutral color, and a lot of their hairs are neutral, so it all kind of seems to flow nicely together, which was my intention. So I have to do her hair, and however, I want to work on the curtains because I'm sorry, her skin. I didn't pull her skin colors from my basket. I have to go through. I do have the 3 curtain colors here. I do want to work on the curtain colors. So curtain colors, I have 50% gray, Blue Violet Lake 1079, and 30% cool gray. These are all cool grays, 50 and 30. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I have my put this into the swatch. The reason we're doing grays is because I couldn't really think of another color that would look quite the way I wanted otherwise. Because we're going to have these brilliant silver stars later, you'll see. So let's go ahead and start with the 50%, which I don't have that card either. Sorry, I've been so out of it since my surgery. It's only been 3 days. Okay, well, we are now doing 50% cool gray. And I'm going to kind of do what we did with these big curtains. I'm going to follow these thicker lines to weave in some of this darker color here. This will be a lot easier then because we don't have to go around the stars. Thank goodness. Those main curtains are taking forever. I'm just going to kind of go up the center line here. Let's do this one. All right, I'm just getting these. I'm going to do this one a little bit darker. Try not to go too much over the black lines. I just want to, I don't have my pencil quite as sharp as I wanted, but I wanted to do a little bit darker here. A little bit light at the base. A little bit darker right here. Okay. So I do have the Blue Violet Lake card. We can do that one. This is going to be our main color. And I'm going to weave this more into the center. I'm going to go light. I'm going to leave some areas for the lighter gray. I'm going to just kind of doing long strokes because we don't have anything we have to go around this time. I'm going to leave some whiter areas to get that lighter gray in. This is going to be a layer building process, but not as long of a one. That's in my way. A little darker around the base here. Let's get some in over here. The question is if we want them to look more blue or more gray, and I'm thinking gray because of the blue curtains. Could have done red, but I thought about red, but in the movie these were the exact same color as the backdrop, and that didn't make any sense to me in a coloring picture. So here we are doing something different. Okay, I got like that first little bit in here. Let's go with the 30% cool gray. And I'm going to get some of this more on the edges. And it doesn't look like much color is being applied yet, as you can tell. So we're going to go back now to the 50% cool gray and put in, I need to sharpen it. We want to get a darker color in those lines there. These curtains were supposed to be a little more subtle. So let's get into up here. I sharpened it so I can really get into these creases where the curtains are creased or bunched or whatever. Do really hard pressure here. We want to go ahead and go in dark now that we've done our first layer in the crease particularly. Gonna follow this one up dark as can be. Let's go more up here. All right. Now it's starting to come together a little. Let's do the blue violet lake. I'm just weaving this in, leaving again some white area for that lighter gray again, but I'm darkening my blue a little, going for a little more than I had before. I need to grab that dark again. I really need to do this one right here, this darker crease. All right. Let's get in a little more of this blue. These curtains were meant to be a little subtle as well, because the backdrop is really the centerpiece I'm going to do a little bit darker, like in some spots, like right here in the center. Okay, like right up here. A little bit here, a little bit here. All right. Okay. Let's go now to the 30% cool gray and start. I want to kind of just blend this into all the areas now. And of course we'll use our blender, but this is going to give it more of the gray than the blue tone. So it'll be like a bluish gray tone, I guess. Bottom line. Make sure we get right at these ends here. If you see a couple areas where you want to have a darker blue stripe, do that now, because once you put in the blender, the whatever, you know, that stuff is that it blends with on the dry stick, it's harder to go back over it, right? Okay. A little bit more right here. Okay. I am working this still. I might even do a little bit of white right there. I'm going to get over here. Let's do just a small amount of white, mostly in these front areas. And these curtains are going to look almost a little marbled, or like they have a textured pattern almost, which was kind of my point. Okay, so we're ready for a hardcore burnish. I'm going to give this a sharpen. Okay, I'll once again hit this more white area first. These kind of look like a baby bluish gray, like an elephant baby blue gray, like a baby boy's baby blanket or something. But this step is really essential to push the pigment into the tooth of the paper and mat it or flatten it down, which is what gives it that smooth look, so you don't see any like white, like little splotches all over. And you don't have to overuse the amount of pigment on your pencil to burnish hard. Like you can either burnish really hard with your pencil at the end, the lightest color, or you can burnish with the blender. Obviously the pencils cost more to replace when they run out. This whole curtain we did a hard pencil burnish. I didn't really do much blender, so that's why it's taken so much of my pencil, and that's why I'm having to replace it, although, you know, it was probably halfway used when I started. But so if you can burnish in with your blender, it's always a good idea. See some tooth up here. I might use my artist pen to touch in a little dabs of color, baby blue or something, so it's a little more vibrant in a few spots on this. That's one of those final effect type things we do. All right. Okay, yeah, so that's the extent of the whole curtain. We can take an acrylic marker if we want to put in more white. We can take our white pencil, put in a little more white right here, which will lighten it up a little. Let's see what I'm doing here all the way down, especially where we had the pale gray and the palest blue. This helps that stand out more. That's a nice effect. I like how that looks. Wait till you see that once we get those silver bling stars, it's really gonna look nice. I want to touch maybe a little dark blue right in the center here. All right, put in a teeny bit of white while we blend. And I'm doing this to hold down my curl. Here we go. Blend, blend, blend. I'm going to be shaking the table here, so sorry about that. Inevitable. Whew, looks good. Take the white, brighten it a little right here. Straight on down. Over that nice kind of waxy blend material, whatever. It's almost kind of chalky. Okay. Might touch in a little blue or gray or something a little later. That's good. So you can take your blender and wherever you want to, or your white pencil, and fix any area you feel it's necessary. Everyone's will look a little different. This picture is a work in progress, but it might look pale to you right now because I didn't fully color this in. It does look a little more visible in person, but let's do this side now and you'll see. So let's take our 50% cool gray again. I'm gonna have to scoot this over so I can reach it with my right hand. I'm gonna turn it just a little. I'm gonna start, hold the page, and I'm gonna start getting this in. I am the type of colorist who does bounce around. I bounce around less when I'm on camera teaching because I have organized colors and color cards, usually, prepped ahead of time. So, you know, if I get ad nauseum working on one area too long, like these curtains, for example, I'm going to stop for a day or two and work on a different area of the picture, or I'll just bounce straight over to it. And sometimes I need to see certain areas done before I move on to another area. And I don't know always what that is until that situation emerges. Okay, going a little faster this time now that I've shown you what to do. Let's go in with our blue. Don't need to go quite as slow. I need to leave some of these areas a little more pale, not put in quite as much. It's a little trickier up here at the top. It's hard to color without curling up the end of the page. Let's get over here, do a little bit lighter right here. Let's do the 30% cool gray. Get some of these pale areas here. Lighter pressure. Okay. And next, I'm going to go back to the dark, just so we can put in a teeny bit more. See how they have those darker creases? We're going to just put in a couple of these with the hard, oh, do I have the right one? Oh, that's the light gray. I need the dark gray. This is the 50%. We're going to put in a few dark creases here. I'll also put in a couple of dark blue ones. Okay. All right. Want to get in a dark blue section right here before we fully blend. One right here in this crease. Couple more darker right over here. Just get a little more of that blue in. Maybe some right down here. Get one right down the back here. Make sure we can see a little more of that blue. Okay. Lastly, just touch a tad more of this cool gray and we're ready to blend. And I'm going to pull the colors for skin. Then I'll finish the, actually then I'll probably go do this, we'll start on the stars. This is a very detailed picture, so that's why it's taking so long. I'm also very thorough. We can't, in all fairness, see the silver as well as we did before. I'm going to be playing with some options. I might be going with the silver sparkle stick. I will definitely show you guys what I choose and how to get it if you don't have it. All right, let's get in here. Oh, let me touch in a little bit of that white right here. All right. We are blending, holding this down, blending to our heart's content. The harder you blend, the better the effect will be, unfortunately, which means you need a little more elbow grease to get that done. Oh, I got a little bit of that curtain in there. All right. Great. Take your white, put in just a little more of that there. I might put a little white acrylic pen into there too later. All right, see now we can see them a little more now that they're on. It's on the royal blue picture. So start in the middle. Did I put my white in here? Woo. Just trying my hand out a little. Need to add a little more blue up here before I blend at the ends. Okay. This page better be worth it in the end. I can't wait to complete this entire book. It's going to look amazing. That's why I'm spending so long and making sure that everything is so good on this. Whew. Okay, here's your white. All right. I believe we're done with our curtains. I'm going to add some sparkle, maybe some stickle glitters to it. This is just a base. The finishing touches, everything's going to be glam, glam, bling, bling, as much as I can make happen, because that is how it looked in the movie. Ooh, but we are otherwise done with the curtains. Okay. So I was experimenting with some things off camera when I was pulling the skin tones. A few things I'm working on for finishing touches while I'm waiting on my pencil. First thing is, I picked 3 Pitt Artist pens from my set to do her beads and this little stuff in her hair. It's just going to pop out more and look more apparent than pencil. You can use whatever you want, but I am using, and you can get these at Hobby Lobby. You can buy them on dickblick.com individually. You can buy the set, but I'm using purple, violet, middle, purple, pink, and lilac. She has a teeny little strap there where she's obviously wearing clothes. So I'm going to do the dark purple. We'll just say she's wearing a purple dress, because all you see is that purple strap. That's her whole clothing right there. We are going to put some of that purple in her hair. For her beads, I want to do this pink. And this is going to look a little darker and kind of pop a little more than a pencil would, which are always more muted. Get some of that kind of 70s pink, and this is a kind of a nice partial accent to Carrie's pink dress as well. And then, of course, the pink in the flowers. And you can take this pink and just squiggle in a little bit here if you want to make it look a little more bold on the side. Give it a little definition. These are great. Again, I always mention all my videos for finishing touches. Okay, that gives it, just give it like a little bit more nice three-dimensionality. Do it one more time, a little second layer. We'll do her skin next, but use whatever you have. You can use any water-based marker or a pencil. Alcohol marker will bleed through, so you can use a felt pen, water-based marker, Tombow dual brush pen, or one of the Ohuhu water brush pens I've mentioned before. Let's put a little bit of this purple here. I'm just going to do in some of the circles in this hair piece. Wherever you see it's kind of a circle. You can do the same thing with pencils. Just do it dark and use pressure. I'm just a little burnt out with pencil at the moment, so I wanted to do some little bit of pen. So this kind of sticks out. Let's put in a little bit of that same pink that's in her necklace into her hair. Assuming she knows how to color coordinate her accessories with her outfit. And this goes over nice over pencil if you actually got any pencil on there. And let's do the lilac. This we can actually touch in anywhere in between. If there's any white. Okay, I'm also going to take this purple. She has an earring here. I'm going to put that on the lobe of her ear, like a bulb. All right, dab in a little more purple over that lilac, which kind of dulled things a little. I might dab in a couple of stickled dollops at the end for some sparkle in her hair. Let's put a little bit of this pink back in. All right, looks nice. A little more lilac if you see any white spots. And I'll touch up a little more with maybe a different pink or some stickles. I think that's good enough. Okay. Got the job done. And again, it's a nice accent to what's in the flowers. You can even take the purple, put a little bit purple on the top where there might be a little shadow where it dips into the center of the rose. See how that is? And ironically, that's the same purple over here. So it's a nice color accent to that picture frame, even though it's on this side of the page. That is how things work. All right. I'm actually going to take this one. I have a Tombow dual pen right here. Need one different color. Dab in a few other dabs here. This is, they're water based. They will not bleed through the paper. I do prefer, I like the control and the firmness of the Pitt Artist pens though. Okay. That's good for now. So that's one thing I was doing. So use whatever you'd like, but basically I had a dark purple, light purple, and a pink or a hot pink or a fuchsia. Is all you really need. It's such some tiny little details right there. So another thing I was doing is experimenting with brightening the blood on the dress. So on top of those two paint pens I used, I pulled Crimson Lake Prismacolor PC925, and you know this has been drying for 2 days. I'm actually going over that. I mean, it doesn't show a ton of color, but it is brightening it up a little. Just to kind of paint, you know, when it dries can look a little matte. A little matted, so I'm just doing that to kind of touch up or touch in some of this blood or wherever it looked a little too light. I already did these areas I was doing over here on my break just to, I like to try things out before I recommend it to you guys. I want to make sure it's going to work well. Okay, I did over here. You can also, I mean, you can go over it multiple times with that paint pen, and I did, I think, 3 rounds of the 2, but I still felt like it left just a little bit of like blood splatter with the pencil lines. It wasn't quite bold enough. So next thing I was going to tell you, I was experimenting with what silver bling we're going to do. I'll show you that in a minute. It's still wet. Let's get up on her shoulder. That's a little more red than I wanted to on her skin, so I got to add a little paint pen right there. Got away from me. Oh yeah, it seems like it's showing a lot more up here. Might want to add a few more dabs of it. Yeah, so that Crimson Light, I think that's a nice, good touch on that paint pen right there. I think it's close enough with all those mixtures to get the right red I was looking for, to disguise the black enough. Okay. So I take my paint marker I used. I did a little bit more than I meant to on her arm. I got to add some actual paint marker there. You can also go down a little bit where you need to. This was the lighter one. Remember, I did the darker one over it. Wanted to add a few more blood stains here. All right. So some pop out more than others, and we'll let that dry, and I'll see what it needs to be tweaked further. I'm kind of a perfectionist. Okay. So the other thing I was doing is playing around with what's going to work best for that bling on those stars. And what I came up with, I tried a ton of different silver options. The best options I have is my silver stickles and my neon gel pen Guangna. These are like the liquid gold. They have liquid silver, and they come in a set. So here I also tried my Crayola. Here, let me show you. This one I tried, which is the Crayola. This one kept making like bubbles, and it was too liquidy. I mean, it's a little older, but Stickles is basically the same concept. And Stickles has a fine point you can control better to get into that narrow star space. So if you look at the difference, let's see if I can still playing with it. So you see the ones that are flat? That's the Nuang pen. So there and there. You can see it's more, but then I used the Crayola one, kind of blobbed out. That's why there's a bigger blob one there. And then I used the Stickles on the others. And so over here, that was, I think, a Stickles. So, I mean, they both work. One is flat and one is more bling. So from the camera being up high, you can see the Stickle bling one more than the flat sparkle pin. So I'm probably going to hit it with Stickles with all of them, which is what I was originally saying. I'm going to do a few now and show you. This is not expensive. You can get it on Amazon or craft store. It's got a fine point. You squeeze very gently. Start at one of the tips. Gentle squeeze until it starts coming out. And just kind of put it a little where you want it. And use the tip to kind of push it where you want it to go. If you haven't used it in a few minutes or a day, you got to get out that first little squeeze. It might come out like a little blob. So let's do that again. So we're going to put in, you just kind of gently squeeze as you fill in, kind of like piping icing on a cake. Then use the tip. It's easily malleable. Move it the direction you want to fill in the star points. Real easy. A little time consuming, but it looks amazing. And this is probably going to be, I'll bet you it's $5 or $6. You can buy, I don't know, I think they go from between $5.99 and $7.99. Amazon Prime is free shipping. This is my silver I've had for 2 years, so it lasts forever. And I use it for all my astronomy, my skies, my fairy wings, my butterfly wings, my Christmas ornaments, like things like this, decorations or signs. So you'll use the silver a ton. The silver, the gold, the black diamond, and the yellow for like sun, windows, light are probably the ones I use the most, and the clear. But definitely I would say the silver and gold, if you could only get like two, like right here, because they're so vibrant and magical almost. Like straight up bling bling. So yeah, that looks more like what I had in mind. Those thick silvery Star Spangled Banner kind of stars, which was kind of that theme in Carrie in that scene. That these blingy silver stars on the curtain. Yeah, so you can see side by side. Here's that flat one, and from my close-up view, it looks fine. It looks more like a metallic with a little sparkle, but I wanted straight up diamond bling. So we're doing the diamond bling. Never done this many stars with one set of stickles though, so I have an entire Tupperware tub of stickles. I mean, I probably have 50 or 60 of them. Now I accumulate them over several years. You know, every payday, I'd probably buy 3 or 4. You know, $20 every payday or whatever, buy 3. Twice a month, you know, after 6 months, it's a lot of stickles. But yeah, I use them all. I use them for details on almost all of my pages. All the ones you've ever seen in my YouTube, my What I Colored videos. They truly are like a magical, like nice art accent for coloring pages. Especially if you do any kind of like Deborah Muller pages, fantasy pages, you know, witches and magic and glittery type things. But it really works enough for if you do night skies. You put some of this on your finger and dab it onto a black background and it makes like a twinkle twinkle, like for a night sky. I do that a lot with this silver, sometimes the gold too. Whew. So yeah, so these little plain silver ones are kind of in between. Now that's not a bad effect to have those flat ones in between the other ones, I guess. But I think we want them to be consistent. So I'm just outlining the star as much as I can and then push it to the center. Patience. Now, ideally, once you finish this, do it before bed and let it sit overnight with it wide open. Give it 24 hours to dry before you touch it or it will be soft and get on your finger. So actually I kind of like that flat look at the flat ones in between. If I were to take my Glowing New pen, I'm gonna do one up here. Yeah, it's a paint pen. You got to press it, activate it. You can get a nice layer of that. More, it's that silver bling, but it's flat. I don't know. I just kind of like that variety in there. Activate it. Hold this down in a dry spot. Oh, it's like a nice, I kind of like that look a lot actually. Just every few random ones have a different type of texture. Okay. Ooh, this is the prom of your dreams by the time this picture gets done. I'm gonna feel like I'm 50 years older. Man, talk about an accomplishment. The reason we did that silver pen underneath is because you can see a little bit through the stickles. If it was stark white, you would probably see little glimpses of that white. So you just needed a quick base layer of even gray would have worked. It didn't have to be the silver. But I wasn't sure at the time what we were going to use. But yeah, I still would have done it the same way now that I know. Add that in. Might be time to replace my stickles here soon. And this also gives it a texture, which makes it look 3D. It makes it look more like a real curtain because it's raised. You know, it's going to be bumpy or soft or squishy. And it's, I mean, it's not hugely fat or mounded or anything, but it creates a more of a realistic final effect. I like it a lot. Except when it goops out like it just did. But you can still fix it with your dip. Okay. So I'm going to stop on this side, and then we're going to go to her skin, and then I'm going to, probably on a quick speed, I will continue the final stickles and pen and burnishing of that curtain when my blue comes in, and put this video all together and we will be done. I do need to do her teeth and little details on her mouth. So that's done with that side of the curtain. So let's just do real quick her neck. So for her neck, I'm sorry, her skin, which includes her neck, I have light peach, peach, beige. So I altered it a little. So I have light peach, yeah, light peach, beige, peach, and light umber. So I'm actually going to remove a couple of the colors. So I'll alter that before you see that again. So the lightest color here is beige. We are going to do the beige. Unfortunately, I put away all my color cards, but let's do this beige here as a base on her neck. I feel like her neck got a little bit of pencil debris from something on there. I should have erased it again, but oh well. Okay, let's do the light umber. Again, extremely delicate, only in the shadows. We don't want her skin to be too dark around the inside of her ear here. Up behind her ear, real gentle, behind this hairpiece. Up her neck here where this little shadow is, up the side. I want to do all right. Go right over here. A little bit more shadow right here, right there. Real light. Okay. Let's do the peach. My brush. Let's do the peach here. I'm going to blend into that brown and that. There's a little pressure here up around her neck, so it's a little darker, and up the back of her neck under her hair piece. Okay, and then a little darker right in this crevice. A little darker on the other side of this hairpiece and in front of her neck. Over her ear. Not so much the front of her face. Maybe a little bit up here by the ear. Let's get her shoulder. Do it really light right here, but bring it a little down because we have that under layer, but we want to put in the light peach. Okay, a little bit on her cheek right there. Let's blend in the light peach. I'm actually thinking I might take the nectar, which I had still sitting out. Let's put a little blush right there. All right, now let's do the light peach. I'm going to do a harder pressure and get this color all the way in. Try not to get it on her beads. Looks great. Nice creamy peach tone. A little bit of white back here. And reblend it one more time. I generally don't need to use the blending stick for skin tones most of the time. Maybe if I have like a lot of colors, but or darker skin tones. If it's lighter, the lightest color will generally suit as the blender just fine. And in the case, you got, you know, like a teeny bit of, a little dark right back there. If you got like teeny bit of skin tone on her beads, just take the Pit Artist pen and go over it again, right over that pencil. Just make them darker. Might even use some liquid pearls on this. Dab at it some more. You can build layers once they dry as well with these Pit Artist pens. Okay. I have a liquid pearl that's the perfect color to that, which will make it look textured. I have to think about showing you about that. Putting in the more purple. I almost thought I'd put a little bit of magic dust in her hair, a little bling or something. Yeah, so that's really all we needed to do with her. She is done. Make sure I got right up on the side of her cheek. I do realize I'm going to use this Pit Artist pen. Oh, that's my bit of pea. I need a pink pencil because there's that stripe on the bottom of Carrie's dress that I forgot right here. Yeah, I feel like she needs a little more pink right here. A little more pink in a few spots. I'm always touching things up. I'm just kind of a perfectionist, I guess. A little more pink. Well, we can touch things up toward the end there with more details. So all of that is done. This girl got a little bit of ink on her hair. Okay. So now I'm just going to I don't want to do the stickle. I'm going to wait until my pencil comes and I'm going to finish that on speed and then the stickles, and I'll show you my last couple details with her mouth and the white gel pen, and we will be done. And we still have her necklace as well. Hello everyone. There's been a couple day gap since I last was filming. As you can see, I went ahead and finished that side of filling in the blue and the stars. I ended up getting some kind of a bad cold and I lost my voice for a few days after my surgery when I had been working on this, and I couldn't film and I just wanted to get the picture done. So I just continued using that cobalt blue hue to finish coloring and everything, the same way I showed you how to do over here. And then I just stickled with that same silver stickles I showed you all on that side, partial stickle and partial with this silver Guangyun silver pen. So some of them look flat sparkle, some of them are elevated sparkle, and I wanted a little bit of each so it wasn't overkill. I'd say 70% to 80% were the stickle that really bling out, and the rest are just some of those more subtle sparkle ones. What I also did, and I can't show you with my silver stickles because I ran out finally, but over the curtains I did streaks, straight down, squeezing gently, 3 lines each on the curtains. Actually, no. First, I dabbed on my finger. I just pressed all over to get a base layer of glitter silver sparkles all over it. Then I went and did 3 long squeeze solid and go straight down streaks on each. That's all I did on those curtains to give it that bling bling for the prom. Really simple. So I finally had to replace my silver though, because I've had that one for 2 years. So I bought a new one. So last thing I want to show you is what to do with these liquid pearls. A few little final touches I'm going to do, and we have to color her mouth, inside her mouth. So what I'm going to do there, if I can zoom in for you, I picked a Prismacolor. This is henna to do her tongue. It's really hard to get in a realistic tongue color, so I'm going to go light on it. Just enough to get that color on. Doesn't have to be too dark or anything. I think that's pretty realistic. And then I'm going to use my pink 928 to do inside of her cheek, which I think is fine. Technically that could be a little bit more of a, you can put a tad of that henna on there, but not too much. I don't want them to be the exact same color. All right, so we have to do her necklace. I'm going to use this pink to touch over a light layer of pink over these pearls, but I'm going to put on liquid pearls. But remember, you don't want to do straight on white because you want to make sure it's colored a similar color in case you can kind of see around the edges or underneath. So I'm just dabbing a little of that pink on. I'm going to do that in a minute, but first I want to do her teeth. Now I have a white gel pen. Actually, I have a white Posca pen also. I'm going to make sure I can activate this, see if there's any paint left. And this is the 3 meter 3M, so it's not too wide to do like the whites of her eye. So I'm going to try very carefully to put a little dollop for a white iris because you almost can't see it and it's so small. Got it? Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to use my, and look for anywhere else you might need to add some white. I don't really see anywhere else. I have a few other ideas for final details. Take the gel pen, make sure they get, this is a white jelly roll. They tend to work the best. I buy the jelly rolls in like 6-packs, the white ones, because I use them the most, and they're the least likely ones to get clunky or dry. As annoying as gel pens, white gel pens can be. Just want to make sure. Okay. And with this, I'm going to just go over her, Alexa, stop. I'm going to go over her teeth a little bit here. So they look a little more white. Okay. That's all I need to do. I put like a little white dab on her 2 lips. That can make it like a little highlight right there. This white gel pen can touch up anything if you see any issues on here. Like right in there. So for her ring and her necklace, I want to use a pink. Well, I have 2 colors I'm deciding between. I have this kind of lavender and then this pink liquid pearls. I'm going to try to put actually this color is taffy. This is like the stickles, but instead of glitter, it's like solid. I'm going to put this on her ring. And it'll be textured and it'll stick up a little like a gemstone. It's got to dry. I didn't do the band, so I should have done that first, but that's okay. We'll go back to that when it dries. Just leave it, just a little dollop right there on her ring. That's it. I want to do, I might want to do every other pink. This is the ballerina color, a very popular color. I'm going to squeeze this right under her pearls. I might do every other pink and purple. Let's see, because you're not going to see this pink very well. Yeah, you're not going to see it. I'm going to do every other one, I think. Let's do a purple. Okay. Let's do a pink. Squeeze it gently onto the pearl. Let's do a purple. And I could do maybe one more pink right there. Let that dry. I like to do that on jewelry. Also, for her crown, I was thinking of doing, I don't think silver is going to really show. Well, first I want to put on this girl down here. Let me zoom out. I wanted to do on her necklace, you know, we did the, you know, we did the pit. Can you see that? I get this camera out enough. I think we did do the pit pen on her necklace, but I want to do this kind of rouge color for her beads. You don't have to do this. If I do it because I have it and it's fun. I just dollop straight across. It gives them a textured look. Looks like it's puffed off the page. It kind of makes them look 3D-ish. Like they're real. Just squeeze out if I have any extra. Make sure there's no air bubbles coming out. I was dabbing on a paper first. Darn it. Got air bubble in there. Okay. Oh man, I should have got my air bubble out first. There we go. Completely fixable. Dollop. One. Wow, that's a bad air bubble. I can't. It's killing me right there. That's never happened to me before. Just dolloping. Pop it. Put another blob right there. Make her bead a little bigger. Okay, now it looks more like a textured necklace. Maybe not even so much like a pearl. It looks more like it has pieces to it. I don't know why this one has air bubbles. That very rarely happens. It's odd. It's really strange, actually. This will have to dry for 24 hours. So I might botch that a little, but you get the idea. Do it, don't do it. Usually it looks perfect like with the pearls. That looks more like a chain, like a statement piece necklace. It doesn't even look so much like pearls, which is fine. It still looks like it's obviously her necklace. I was also thinking of dabbing into her hairpiece, some teeny dollops here or there of these as well. This purple one just looks like the little beads in her thing. See, this one's not doing it. That was really weird and annoying. You can even put in a few of these into here. Let's see if it still does it. It's not doing it now. That was weird. Don't know why it's making an air bubble. Little dollops, like jewelry accents. It's just a technique. Okay. Gotta be real careful. It can be hit and miss sometimes. I think it gives it like a nicer, vibrant, you know, popping out kind of a texture scenario. I also thought about going over with a blue sparkle pen, the queen, the prom queen, and we need to do her crown, and I'm just, nothing's going to show. It's just so pale. I'm really considering just going over it with this, I'm just going to do that because it'll kind of match into the red. I'm going to go straight across. You guys might not like this effect. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. This is just me. I'm just going to make it look different, you know. Almost looks more like matches in the theme of the blood. Now, if you have a really good red, and I like how that kind of sticks out, a red liquid pearls, that would make some good blood effects too. This isn't quite dark enough. I tend to only use liquid pearls for things like jewelry or food, frosting. You can get too carried away with accents and details if you're not careful. you know, you could take, I'm going to get a little red one and do some little dollops of blood just so you can kind of see how that will look. I don't have a darker red stickles, liquid pearl. So I did squeeze, this one's technically called Rouge, but it doesn't look quite dark enough. But I put a few here, you can see over the blood spots. And because that's already so dark, it's kind of turning out just right. You can add a few just for texture. Let me show you, like just squiggle a little here. And it'll look, I need to go on Amazon see if I can find a darker red liquid pearl because I use these so much. But see, you can kind of like make it come down like it's blood right there. You see how that looks? Now that looks kind of like a blood crown is what it looks like. I kind of was thinking I could make it, that crown was so thin, I could make it look like blood splattered all over her crown. It's just like thick with blood. That's kind of what I just did, I guess. So I'm just going to dab in some of these. You can completely stop at the pencil or do whatever you want. You don't have to have any of these things. I always try to show you other ways to create effects and things that I do. You can slowly add different products to your repertoire of coloring, you know, stash to use over and over again when you want or when you can afford them or what's interesting to you. I try to show you options. You don't have to do them. You can 100% do this picture with all pencils. You can adjust on the silver pencil for the stars. You don't have to have the stickles. You don't have to have any of these other things. I am just kind of person that likes to go all out when I do my best work on tutorials for you guys. Or my really good books, the ones I want to keep as heirlooms, I put my best details and mediums in. So I'm actually just going for it. See, I'm striking this right on down like textured blood over that kind of brownish red, which looks pretty real. And there's no chance now that any of that black blood shading from the artist is going to show at this point. It's completely covered. Now, it's not as dark as I would like, but you know, I think it's fine because it's leaving some of that brown underneath with kind of the blood on the top. See, I told you, it's so easy and fun to get carried away with the accents. And usually it still looks good, but it does change the outcome from a pure pencil piece to like a mixed media piece. Blood drizzle. It's fun. It's fun. It's always risky to do it on camera because it doesn't turn out, and then, well, I'm going to put some on her arm. This rouge I feel like is a raspberry. It's not as crimson. Well, you know, I guess rouge is kind of like blush. Yeah, maybe it would be more raspberry. But on top of this other red, it works. But I need to see if I can get a liquid pearl that's more of a red for all my Halloween effects. So I'm going to go do that as soon as I'm done here. It's a gaping bloody mess. Definitely, I even wait 2 days before you close this book. Put it up high where no animal or child can touch it. One smear of this is going to ruin your picture. Keep your arm off to the side. Reach your hand over. Careful not to rest your hand down mindlessly on top of it. I've done that a bazillion times. It will smear and ruin the picture. It's not like the glitter stickles that comes right off. This has more like paint pigment in it. Have really detailed awareness of what you're doing when you use these final details after all that work on that picture, or you're going to be really mad at me or yourself or both. You'd think it only takes once, but I've done it time and time again, honestly. Like, I don't know why I do that. But now I'm like really not wanting to wreck my picture, so I'm keeping my arm away. Blood. There's just a bloody, gory mess. I love it. I'm excited. I'm glad I wasn't going to do these all down here, but I'm glad I did because... Oh, if anything, it has that raspberry tint effect to the blood, which is a nice accent to the pink in the picture and the roses. So I think it works. And when I photograph things always look darker. So yeah, I think it works. I'm happy with it. I hope you guys did an amazing picture and learned something. Please go to my Facebook group, Coloring Oasis Adult Coloring Community. Share what you did. I'd love to see it. Tell me what you think of my picture, if you like, if you hate it or not, or please leave a comment below on the Patreon posting. And thank you so much for your support. We are done with this picture. And I have to decide now, do I want to do next Annabelle here or a different picture? Let me know what you think. A different picture in this book, if you want to do the full page spread or not. Take care, everybody.